If you look at the people who have died in Sweden, if you compare to Italy and Germany, in percent I think it's just the same about.
I just feel sorry for those people who have been in lockdown for such a long time.
If you want to be part of that, then and be able to travel, you should be vaccinated. I was affected myself in a way from the last vaccine. I had a miscarriage because of it. Yeah, it was sad. It was early on and it was really sad, but I will still take this vaccine because I think it's important.
Welcome guys to my show here from Stockholm in Sweden. We are here to have a look how the special approach of Sweden is to Corona. You see, we are on a shopping street, like almost nobody's wearing a mask, maybe 5 to 10% of the people wear masks. So it's your self-responsibility. Here very loose restrictions, so the shops are open, of course. They say, okay, not too much people inside the shops. There are very loose regulations, and the restaurants and bars are open. They are just open until 8 p.m. and they kick you out at 8:30. But otherwise, as I said, it's much more freedom as in Germany. And here we are going to talk to the people. What's their point of view on this policy?
My name is Ihrem and I live in Stockholm.
Okay, what's your stance on the Swedish approach to Corona?
I think we all have to get used to the things we approach Corona now, because it doesn't happen anything at all. I mean, all the shops is open, for me it feels like it's always has been feeling. So it's not a big change for me.
Okay. But now the government came up with a new law. People think, like that's what we heard from some Swedes. They think maybe they come up with more restrictions, that they're going to close shops and bars. What's your opinion on this? You think it's going to continue with this, or they're going to come up with new restrictions?
I heard about the new restriction, but I don't think it's going to happen, because I think it's going to roll on like before. Because you look here, it's the same. All the shops is open. Even if the new pandemic law is it's changing some things for the restaurant and the bars, because they can't serve alcohol after 20. But I think it's going to roll on like the same.
Okay.
And I think it has been always. I haven't seen much change, because okay.
So, and what's your opinion on the other countries, for example, like Germany? All the shops are closed, like since now, I think it's since the end of October. They're thinking about to have even a harder lockdown, to lock people in, like in Spain, how they did it in spring. Like people were, for months, they were just allowed to leave their home for an hour a day. What do you think about these countries with a hard lockdown?
I think that every country does it their own way. I mean, a big lockdown can be good, but I think the virus will always be there in some kind. I think the vaccine will make the big change, but I think it's every country is different, and if you look at the people who have died in Sweden, if you compare to Italy and Germany, in percent I think it's just the same about. The other country, Norway and Finland and Denmark, these countries that stands out a little bit.
Would you get vaccinated?
I have Corona in December, and I was hardly sick at all. So I have anti-crop now. So I will wait with the vaccine until summer. Maybe if I take, I don't know yet.
You said you had hardly any symptoms. What kinds of symptoms do you have, when I may ask you?
I just have some cold, no fever, nothing. 2 days, just a cold.
And you had a positive Corona PCR test?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you follow the international media? And when you follow them, what's your opinion on the news about the Swedish approach?
I think that the news in the beginning was up and down, and some countries will celebrate Swedish way to handle things, and now when we see the result in other countries, think we made a bad thing because of the flock immunity. But I don't know. I mean, I think the big problem is that we handle the nature and the animal and the food with such a careless matter. That's a big thing. And I think it's not the first pandemic. We have to take care of our earth in a better way.
My name is David.
David, what's your opinion on the special approach of Sweden when it comes to Corona?
I guess it's revolves quite around having common sense. So yeah, that's what it is.
So you support this policy?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And now there's a new law. Do you think with this new law there will be changes soon, like maybe a harder lockdown or harder measures?
Probably. I think it's the new law is pretty good that we're able to have that here in Sweden, and that the government has that kind of authority to do so. So yeah.
But do you think when they gonna implement harder measures, like the Swedes would say, okay, it's fine, we are happy with the government protecting us, or would they revolt against it?
I think they're gonna be probably happy that the government takes care of them because yeah, before the law or before during the spring it was quite crazy at some like shopping malls and stuff like that. So I think it's good.
So, and what do you think about the other countries like Germany, Spain, France, Italy, who have much stronger restrictions? And like, for example, in Spain, then the people were locked in like the whole day. They were just allowed to go out for 1 hour a day. What do you think about these policies?
I just feel sorry for those people who have been in lockdown for such a long time, and it must be such a hassle.
What do you think about the vaccine?
I'm all for it. Yeah, I think that everyone should get it as soon as possible.
Oh, okay. Your kids as well?
Absolutely.
Welcome here from Kiruna in the north of Sweden. We are in front of the Ice Hotel, and yeah, let's conduct some interviews here. Actually, we got 3 interviews in Stockholm. Actually, one girl, she didn't want to be in the video because she said, okay, I paused too many times, I was thinking too much, I don't feel comfortable to be in your video. And actually in Stockholm, we tried to approach about like 50, 60 people, and most of the people just walked by. It was very hard to find people to talk in front of our camera. So yeah, let's conduct some interviews here. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Sissy. I'm from France, and I'm visiting Sweden for a couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah, we are together like for 4 or 5 days in Sweden, like to a little forget about all coronavirus situations we have in France. So here we are.
Isn't it dangerous for you here in Sweden? Like, what do you say about the special approach of Sweden to Corona?
We know it's very specific, and then they are being like criticized by other European countries for the approach. But we feel like we're in Lapland. There is nobody. The hotel is very safe. We have like what we need to protect ourselves. So, I mean, I don't feel in danger.
What about you?
Just, like when you were just there and you see that in the hotel you don't need to wear the mask on always. So this is the first thing that comes to your mind when you see, okay, so let's take a few days to forget about coronavirus, to enjoy some holidays. With all the restaurants and bars closed in France, we enjoy this a little even higher. So it's really, really cool to be there. So we are not really worrying about coronavirus. It's like you need to forget this a little, and just you come back to France, and then you go back to work, and you remind about all these things about coronavirus. So it's like a parenthesis into our lives, I think. So that's why.
So, and when you're here in Sweden, when you see, okay, you don't have to wear a mask everywhere, when you go grocery shopping, you see people don't wear masks, or maybe from my experience, just maybe 5 or 10% of the people wear a mask, and you see the numbers are not as bad as in other countries like Spain or France. Like, would you maybe have preferred the Swedish approach to Corona instead of the French way?
I mean, from my point of view, I cannot really give my if I was someone who had to decide on something, I really wouldn't be capable of doing any decision right now. I feel like everyone is doing the best that he can to make the decision and find this own way. But I mean, I don't feel in danger. I don't feel like more like unsafe that in France. But I am not able to judge whatever approach they are having.
Yeah, clearly. I think that's a choice of each country. You will have some countries like which who have done lockdowns very quickly. Some other countries which ways are preferred to expect to more be in an expected place face to the virus. The same. I don't think we could judge one situation, one choice is better than the other. So the thing is that currently we see that we can be here and we can do some really great stuff. So of course, so we are fans. We'll be grateful to enjoy some time with some holidays. We cannot absolutely difficultly do in France. So I think we are not in such a good place to be able to judge the choices that have been made by our country. So,
okay, would you get the vaccine against Corona?
Okay, so I guess that French people are very against vaccination in general. Me, I got all my vaccination when I was a child, and I'm not against that. But now I'm not going to do it for a year at least because I feel like we have to wait, and I feel like some laboratories in France, they are making it longer, but they are creating a safer solution. So I'd rather wait for that one rather than taking the first solution that comes up and take it. So I'd rather wait to see how it goes.
What about you?
I think currently it's more an emergency for more old people, for 65 years and plus. So I think this is not a real emergency for us. We are young, and we know that some young people can be concerned too, of course, and even with kind of tough cases. But still, I think it's more an emergency for the people who need the vaccine more than we do. So yes.
What would you say if your government would say, okay, you need a vaccine to travel to Sweden or to Germany to cross the border? Would you get vaccinated immediately?
The vaccination passport in France is the subject, but I know the government, French government, is against that. So I think this is not going to be a subject. I would wonder myself because this trip really reminds me how good it is to travel and how much you grow because it's really an experience. So I really miss that for the last year. So I would consider it seriously, but I have for now it's not compulsory, so I'm not wondering the question right now.
What about you?
I think that by doing this, you can face the opposite impact. So people would say, okay, why now is it mandatory to get vaccinated? So it's bizarre, So I think this could have the negative impacts. That could say people okay, so now you're forced to vaccinate. So even that, I think 1 over 2 persons who don't want to vaccinate in France, you could reinforce the state. You could push people not to get vaccinated just because the state says so. And so I don't think that's a good idea to do so. But that's what's beautiful to me. That's my point.
Victoria, what do you think about the Swedish approach to Corona?
I don't know. I've never tried anything else. I think it's good for the children that they can still do sports. We can still do certain things. Is it the best approach? I'm not sure. I don't think anyone knows at this point. But being a mother, I think my kids have mostly been in school the entire time. And I'm grateful for that. I have friends in other countries with children and they're going crazy. So... yeah.
Okay, so now they came up with a new law. Do you think they're gonna come up with stricter regulations, stricter measures soon?
I hope that they will at least be able to smooth the regulations out a bit. I work in the entertainment industry myself, and we've been completely shut down for almost a year now. And with the new law, as far as I understand it, we might be able to open up with safer regulations for us, while they will be able to close down stores or situations where you can't keep a safe distance, for example. So I'm hoping that it will even things out between different kinds of businesses a bit. So I'm happy about it.
And you just said you talked to friends from other countries. So what do you think about the approach of other countries like Spain or Italy, who, especially Spain, they locked the people in for months?
I have friends there, and they are literally going crazy. So I don't know. It's a very difficult situation for everybody, and I don't think anyone has the answers. So I can't really say anything about other countries' approaches to this. It's a completely new situation for everybody. But I'm happy that we haven't been in complete lockdown yet.
Would you get vaccinated?
Yes, I will.
Why?
Because I think it's important that we all try to get rid of this disease so that we can return to somewhat of a normal life. I think that vaccinations have saved humanity from a lot of different things, and I think it's my responsibility as a person of, the human community to do it, So yeah, I will.
In some European countries, I think Ursula von der Leyen, the head of the European Union, they think about a COVID traveler pass. So you need to have the vaccination to be allowed to travel within the European Union. Would you support a mandatory vaccination like this?
It's a difficult question. I think, if we're going to act as a whole, as a community, and I'm not speaking only about Sweden or Europe or just as a human race together, I think it's a fair thing. If you're vaccinated, if you want to be part of that, then and be able to travel, you should be vaccinated. I mean, it's no difference. If you want to go into certain other countries in Africa, for example, you have to have a vaccination against malaria or something else. So I don't think it's any different.
As I heard, in Sweden you had bad experiences with the swine flu, that many people had side effects, and that's the reason why you have a special approach now to Corona. Like, looking back with the experiences with the swine flu vaccination, do you think people in Sweden will be more critical when it comes to the vaccination?
Not really. I mean, when you see different, what do you call it? When they ask a lot of people, I think about 85% still say they're going to take this vaccine. So, and the rest are not sure. I was affected myself in a way from the last vaccine. I had a miscarriage because of it. Yeah, it was sad. It was early on, and it was really sad, but I will still take this vaccine because I think it's important.
Like in Germany, and it's in some scientific journals, they even say they don't know if this corona vaccine can have an effect on your fertility.
Well, I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I'm over the age of having kids. I already have 2 kids. So for me, that wouldn't be, a non-negotiable part of it. But, I can't say what everyone else needs to do or should do. So I can just, be responsible for myself and my decisions.
What do you think about the policy in Sweden here, about the special approach to Corona?
Yeah, it's a hard question, but I think it's good because we keep our businesses running as possible as it is in these times. So we have me, for example. I've been working from home for 10 months now, and I think it's different for all the countries.
So, and what do you think about the other countries, like, for example, like France or Spain or Italy, who had very hard lockdowns, like when you compare it to Sweden? Like, do you think they went the wrong way and Sweden did the right way, or what's your stance on this?
I think it's very hard to compare depending on the situation in every country. But of course, it's a hard lockdown is very hard for people to be isolated, and they can't go to their works, and unemployment, and maybe people will commit suicides because they are depressed and staying at home for a long time. So, but I don't say that another country has chosen a better or the worse way. I think it's up to all country and their governments to decide what is best, depending on where in the curve of the corona epidemic. And also, if you compare, for example, Russia is a large country, Bangladesh is a small country, but almost the same amount of people. So of course you have to have different approaches depending on. There are so many factors in this game, I guess.
Okay. And what do you say about the news coverage about Sweden? Like in Germany, it's always like, oh, the Swedish special approach will fail soon. Like, do you think it's, what do you think about this news?
Yeah, I think many countries have been very harsh on Sweden. If you rate them, if you rate Sweden, I think now, for the time being, we are like in the 29th place over when it comes to contaminated people. Yeah. And we were a bit unlucky that we had the infection at where the elders were living. I think that was not a success, to say the least. So we had a very high death rate in the beginning. But I mean, there are so many other countries that have more contaminated people and more deaths compared to the population. So yeah, I think it's a bit hard to say that you are doing this wrong and you are doing. I think, as I said before, every country needs to take their own decisions, and depending on how the country and the people are, the culture, you have to take that into account, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the interview.
Yeah, thank you.